Hello, hello. Today we are going to be looking at the order of operations notes. So this is the next section in our notes. Quick reminder, if you did not do the other two sets of notes that we've done in class, which is the fractions practice, and then the one before that was the operations with real numbers. Just make sure you have those in your notes because you will need access to those coming up here pretty soon, okay? So again, we're going to write the date, whatever the date is today that you're watching this, okay? So put the date up above, and the title of the notes is the order of operations. So we're just going to review what are the order of operations and how do we use them, okay? So in class, you hopefully got this yellow foldable, and I have folded it like so, right? So we cut it out, fold it over, and then I glued it into my notebook. Notice that I have space along the side so that we can write along it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fill out this foldable. So I'll bring up the tab for that. So this is what the inside of the foldable looks like, right? The first one is groupings. So what we're going to do is on this top, just at the top, we're going to use a color or whatever you want, right? On the outside, and I just realized I don't have a pencil. Let me make that, right? So on the outside of our foldable, at the top, we're going to write a big G. So let me show you what I mean, just like this. Okay, just in that first section, G. And then we're going to fill in the inside of that. So the first thing that we always look for in order of operations is our groupings. And there's a lot of different, oh, I lost my pen. There's a lot of different types of groupings. So we're going to look at all of the different types of groupings. So you always do these first. So one type of grouping that we're all pretty comfortable with are parentheses, right? If I have parentheses that I can simplify, I have to do those first. But there's other options too, right? I can have absolute value. So those straight lines, and I'm going to write here that this is absolute value. Those bars. I can also have square brackets. So that's another type of grouping. So if I have those, I'm going to do those first. I can have what I call Batman brackets, the little squiggly ones. A square root is a type of grouping, or a cube root, or really any n root, right? Fourth root, fifth root, and so on and so forth. I wonder if I can make that 3 better. Let's go. So these are all examples of things that we would have to do first. So no matter what, we're going to be looking for any grouping first. So make sure you have this filled out on the inside of your foldable. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. Maybe I can't do that. There we go. And then the next one is exponents. So now under the G, we're going to write an E. Just like this. Right, so GE. And now that goes to exponents and roots. So this kind of overlaps, right? So I could have roots in groupings, or I can have roots down here. So either way, it just depends on the problem. So make sure you're paying really close attention. But if I have an exponent, if I have something being squared, then I would do that next. I would square it, okay? Or if I have something being cubed, right, then I would do that exponent, or any exponent, essentially, to the fourth, to the fifth, to the sixth, right, and so on and so forth. Also, you could have that square root or cube root down here as well. So it just depends on the order that you and it depends on the problem, okay? So after you do any sort of grouping, then you're looking for your exponents or your roots, okay? So simplifying those guys. The next one is multiply, divide from left to right, and that is so important. So important, okay? So on my little foldable, on the next one, I'm gonna write multiply, divide. So I'm gonna do it like this. Now, just because the multiply is written first does not mean you always multiply first. You go from left to right. So I'm gonna add that in here. Okay, left to right. And so what that means is, I made a little arrow left to right. So what that means is that if I have division first, right, on the left, and I go to the right, then I have to do the division first. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily always matter if multiplication is first or division first. You always do whatever's on the left first. So let's do, I want to show you an example, a couple examples here. So on the inside of our foldable, let's look at a couple examples. So if I have something like 4 times 2 divided by 3, right? What's most on the left, right? As I go left to right, this 4 times 2 is first. So that's the one I do first. So 8 divided by 3, right? Because 4 times 2 is 8. And then 8 divided by 3, we can just leave that a fraction. 8 over 3. And it's done. Okay, but you go left to right. So here multiplication was first, so that's what I did first. If I have something like this, 4 divided by 2 times 3, now from left to right, my division is first. So I have to do that one first. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And now I can do multiplication to get 6. Okay, so whatever's most on the left, that is what you are doing first. I can't stress that enough. Okay, so from left to right. So hopefully that's making sense. And then our last one is add, subtract from left to right. So on my foldable, again, I'm going to go add, subtract, and then I'm going to draw that arrow and remind myself that I'm going left to right. And I'll show you here in a second. So pause the video if you need, but okay, add, subtract from left to right. So same idea. Whatever comes first, that is what you have to do first, right? So let's look at a problem that kind of covers all of the bases. So on the inside of your foldable now, let's look at the problem 4 minus 3 plus 5 minus 2. So since I only have positives and negative, or like pluses and minuses, I'm just going to go from left to right. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So notice that every step is on a different line, and I'm just doing one step at a time, okay? Now from left to right, this 1 plus 5 is first. So that's going to be 6 minus 2. And then now from left to right is just 6 minus 2, which gets me 4. Okay, so just make sure we're going from left to right. Hopefully that makes sense. If you need to go back and watch the video or anything like that, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. There's one thing that I do want to point out. So along the outside, well, I'll just write it. So we're going to go back to our lined paper so that we can take notes. So just to give you kind of visual, right? Here's my factoring foldable, right? We're going to glue it in, not our factoring, but foldable, sorry, our order of operations foldable, right? And it's going down the page as so. So I'm going to be writing over here. So a couple things that I want to point out to you. If you are asked to, I'm going to change the color because this is a lot of the same color. If you are asked to evaluate or solve, right? It says solve for something or evaluate, right? You're going to go down in the order. You're going to go G, you're going to go down the order. So you're going to go G, E, M, D, A, S. So you're going to use GEMDAS. Okay? If you are asked to simplify, okay, so if you are asked to evaluate or simplify, right? So just reduce what you have. You're going to go down the list in the order. So G, E, M, D, A, S, right? You'll just, that's a D. There you go. You'll just go down in the order. No big deal. If you're asked to solve for a variable, and we already do this, you just probably don't know, you actually go the opposite way. So if I have my order of operations, G, E, M, D, A, S, you actually go the opposite way. So you do any addition subtraction first. Then you take care of your multiplication division. Then you do any exponents or roots. Then you get rid of your groupings. And so I'm going to kind of do one example of each here so that we can kind of see what I mean by that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and clear the page. I'm still going to be working along the right-hand side in our page. I'm just running out of room, okay? So let's look at the first example. So I'm going to simplify. Actually, hold on one second. Let me clear that and let me scroll down a little bit so I have more notes. There we go. Okay, so simplify. So again, my GEMDAS foldable is still along here, okay? So I'm going to simplify 17 minus 5 squared divided by 2 plus 3. Okay, so we're going to do order of operations. Groupings first. Where's my grouping? Right here, right? So I have to do that first. So I have 17 minus 5 squared divided by, and 2 plus 3 is 5. Good? Okay. Now the next thing in my order of operations is exponents, which is right here. I have this 5 squared. So I have 17 minus 5 squared is 25 divided by, again, notice each step is on a different line, so I'm staying organized. Now, I don't have any more exponents or groupings, so the next step is either multiplication or division, whatever comes first. In this case, I don't have multiplication, I only have division. So I do 17. And then negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. Okay? And then my last step is just 17 minus 5, which is 12. And there's my answer. Look good? Okay? The next thing would be solving. So when we solve, like we took notes up above, remember guys that you can always pause this video and finish taking notes, okay? So even though we're going at a steady pace, you should be pausing the video and getting caught up on notes. So the other example I want to talk about is a solving problem. So 3 times the square root of x plus 2. And then the minus 4 is going to be outside the square root, so make sure it's not underneath the square root, equals 8. Okay, So now when we solve, we're actually going in the opposite order, right? We're starting with addition, subtraction. So I have to ask myself, is there any addition, subtraction? The answer is yes. Not only do I have this plus 2, right, but I also have this minus 4. However, the plus 2 is inside of this square root, so that's in a grouping. I can't do anything with that yet. So the only thing I can do is add my 4 to the other side. So this gives me 3 times the square root of x plus 2 equals 12. Okay, so I got rid of all my addition, subtraction. Now I can look at multiplication, division. Do I have any multiplication, division? The answer is yes. This 3 is multiplying by the square root. So I can divide by 3. Which gets me x plus 2. Sorry, the square root of x plus 2 equals 4. Okay. Now I keep going. Do I have any exponents or roots? And the answer is yes. I do have a square root. So hopefully remember that to get rid of a square root, you square both sides. And what that does is it cancels with the square. So the square root and square cancel. And I'm just left with x plus 2 equals, and then 4 squared is 16. Okay, then I ask myself, do I have any groupings? And the answer is no, right? I don't have any parentheses or brackets or anything like that. So then because I've reached the top of PEMDAS, or GEMDAS, excuse me, then I would start back over. Do I have any addition, subtraction? Yes. Minus 2, minus 2. So x equals 14. So you didn't even know it, but you were always going in the reverse order of GEMDAS when you're asked to solve. Okay, and that's something you probably didn't even know that you were doing. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so that should have hopefully filled in the first page. What we're going to do now is we're going to do 3 examples, and then we're going to be done with our notes, okay? So 3 quick examples, not necessarily quick, I guess, but just 3 examples. So wherever you have room, probably on another page in your notebook. And then that's going to be it. And then you guys have some practice on Classroom, okay? So our first example is asking us to simplify. And we are simplifying 8 minus 12 minus 2 over 4 plus 1 divided by 2 squared. Whoosh, lots of stuff going on here, okay? Right now, this is my grouping. So this is what I have to take care of first. I have to get this down to one number. Okay, so I have my 8 is going to still come down. Minus 12 minus 2 is 10. 4 plus 1 is 5. Divided by 2 squared. Okay, still have a grouping here because I can't do anything until this fraction's gone. So I have 8 minus 10 over 5 obviously is 2. Divided by 2 squared. Okay, now I'm at the point I don't have any more groupings. So now I can do my exponents, which is this 2 squared. So 8 minus 2 divided by 4, right? Because 2 squared is 4. Now I have to do, there's no more exponents, no more grouping, right? So now I have to do division. So negative 2 divided by 4. So negative 2 divided by negative 4 is negative 0.5, right? 2 divided by 4, sorry, negative 2 divided by 4 is negative 1/2, which is negative 0.5. So I have 8 minus 0.5, which gets me 7.5. And that's my answer. So just being really, really, really careful, right? Do your groupings first, then do your exponents, then do your multiplication, division, then do your addition, subtraction. So if you need a pause on this video to take notes, things like that, go back and rewatch it, please do. I'm going to clear it and move on to the next one. Second example, again, we're going to be asked to simplify. And here's our problem. 5 times, and I'm going to use a square bracket here, so 5 times 2 minus parenthesis -3 plus 7 divided by 4, and then close the square bracket. So in this case, I actually have two groupings, right? I have the square brackets, and I also have the parentheses. So rule of thumb is you always do the inside one first. Okay, so we're going to take care of that inside one. So oops, that's a 5, sorry. I'm going to ignore the 5, the 2. All I'm doing right now is -3 plus 7, which is 4. Then I still have the divided by 4 and the closed bracket. So all I did on this step was -3 plus 7 to get 4. Okay, this negative just came straight down. Now I have another set of groupings, so I need to simplify that first. Okay, and within that grouping, I have division and subtraction, so I have to do the division first. So that gives me 5, and then 2, and then -4 divided by 4 is -1. Okay, simplify your bracket. So 5 times 2 minus 1 is 1. So 5 minus 1 is 5. Again, notice each step is on a different line, right? Easy to follow format. I can clearly see, what is happening in every single step. So make sure when you are doing your work, especially if your handwriting is not the neatest, I need to see every single step on a different line. So again, if you need to go back and look at that example or pause it to write notes, please do. We're going to do the last example now. So last example, again, is simplify. Not looking at solving. So I have 4.3 minus square bracket, parenthesis, 25 minus 9, close parenthesis, divided by 2, close bracket, squared. Whoosh. Okay, same idea. I have two groupings, so I need to do my inside one first. So this 25 minus 9. So 4.3 minus 25 minus 9 is 16 divided by 2 squared. So I've gotten rid of one of my groupings. Now I need to simplify my other grouping. So 4.3 minus. Now in this grouping, 16 divided by 2 is 8. And that is still being squared. But I've simplified my grouping as far as I can go. So now I move on to the next thing, which is exponents, right? So 8 squared is 64. So this gives me 4.3 minus 64. And then the only thing left is to subtract. So 4.3 minus 64 gives me negative 59.7. Voila, that's it. So you guys do have practice of this. So just make sure that you're working on any missing work, things like that. If you need help on this, if you have questions on the practice, reach out to me right away so that I can sit down and help you and work with you, okay? Otherwise, I will see you soon. Bye.